This is the Scrum Feed, where Paul Dalligan and I pull apart what's happening in the NRL. And Paul, Perth Bears have had a meeting with the NRL and they want salary cap concessions. I had to laugh. Gus Gould says it's not a charity, it's a competition. What are your thoughts?
I love it. We probably have to look across to our friends at the AFL. No one wants the Bears to struggle when they start. When they started off in the Western Reds, they fell out of the comp. We'd like a competitive team. I did notice that the AFL is giving the Tassie Devils a $5 million sign-on bonus for players. Now, whether that was agreed with the clubs prior to their voting on them being accepted into the comp, I'm not sure, but you'll have to look as well at GWS and Gold Coast Suns. Not only are they given $30 million a year by the AFL, but they were given those first-round draft picks. And even then, as you recall, they were woeful, GWS and the Suns. So they're only now just starting to get respectability. I don't think the NRL or the clubs would want a whipping and just a terrible team. I agree with what Matty Johns, who I respect greatly, has called for, perhaps an increased salary cap, maybe $1 million to what everyone else has, which might assist, because otherwise you're going to struggle to get players there. But if I'm in the market for a player and they go to Perth because of these allowances, I'm not going to be too happy. You've got to look also at Papua New Guinea are getting all the players on the market, it seems, or the hottest players because of the no tax situation. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, exactly, Paul. We talked about last week that the Chiefs had signed Jerome Luai. They've also signed Alex Johnston.
They have, and that's a no-brainer. I mean, Alex Johnston's Papua New Guinean heritage. There was a bit of a storm about whether he was the player 001 or whether it was Jerome Luai. I don't think it really matters. They've got both of them. They're both going to be great players and they're going to have a crack squad at Papua New Guinea. But the Bears don't exactly have a squad that I've seen that would make you shudder if you're an opposing coach. Let's put it that way.
The 7th Magic Round is on us, Paul. First held in 2019 and Brisbane has the hosting rights through until next year. But other states are circling, including New Zealand as well. Multi-million-dollar bids, so they say. Is it going to stay at Brisbane? What's your gut feel?
We're staying there till next year. So we've got this year and next year in Brisbane. The Premier apparently has dared Peter V'landys to keep it in Queensland. I'm not sure what he attempts to get out of that, but Peter V'landys is not someone I'd dare to do anything. I think he does his own thing. So he'll take it where he feels is best for the game. It depends whether you want to take it to a market external to Australia. It's an interesting proposition they've got. They'd have to look at the offers. I love the competition in Brisbane. It's a great city for it. Whether or not you take it to Perth or Adelaide, I'm probably not so sure, unless it was a deal you couldn't refuse. The New Zealand one is interesting. There's some money there and they've got an ambitious government. The side issue, I don't think we've mentioned Michelin stars on here before, but they've paid, I think it's about $5 million, the New Zealand government, to have the Michelin judges there to rate their restaurants. So they've obviously got an ambitious government wanting to bring international recognition there. So that may be the proverbial offer they can't refuse at the NRL. Watch this space, I guess.
Well, they've had offers between 8 and 10 million already, Paul. So I guess the question is, do you want the venue or do you want the money?
Well, that's it. And also, I think New Zealand might be a dark horse because the Warriors tickets are hotter than the All Blacks. Who would have ever thought that the way the Warriors are going? That's been the case for some time. As much as the Brisbane fans would hate this, I don't think it would be necessarily a bad thing. New Zealand, we go to Las Vegas. There's not a lot of league action there. If you put it around New Zealand, perhaps, they're not even in the one venue, I think it would be amazing. I wouldn't mind either way, the Brisbane or New Zealand.
One of our viewers has asked us to crystal ball where we see the St George Illawarra team as an entity in 5 years on and off the field. That's a big question.
It is a big question pretty late in the day. I struggle to tell you where I'll be in 5 days, Professor, and the viewer and listener as well. I wish I could have the crystal ball out. It's pretty dusty. Even their recent signings of Drinkwater and Kalamatangi, they're two top players, but I don't know if either of those two will be around in 5 years. They've got some good young talent coming through. Cade Reed, the Couchman brothers, you'd have to hope that they progress. And I think what it's going to take is finding that gem, such as what's brought the Tigers back, which was Luai, Benji Marshall. In the case of Manly, if somehow they've stumbled on Kieran Foran. So we really can't say. You couldn't have predicted either of that, the Tigers or Manly, to have the resurgence they did. I think, though, the listener could do worse than tuning into that song from Yatis and the Plastic Population, The Only Way Is Up, because that's the song that I'd be playing on repeat if I was a Dragons fan, because you can't get any worse, and they've only got to get better from here.
I think you've said it before about the Perth Bears, Paul. Could say the same for St George. It's not a list that puts the fear of God into any of the opposition.
No, it's not, but neither would the Tigers or Manly of a couple of years ago. So look at their resurgence, particularly Manly. I mean, it's the same squad. So even the same players, it just needs something to unlock them. With the Rabbitohs going back a while, my beloved Rabbitohs, Russell Crowe arrived. So this is a terrible pun, but the Dragons might need a white knight to come in and save them. All puns excused. That's a shocker. But yeah, they'll need something to happen. I don't think it's going to be Dean Young, but it's going to need a massive signing to get people there.
Well, they've got an ageing list as well, Paul. Gutherson's 31, Valentine's Holmes is 30. The captain, he's 34, Damien Cook.
Yeah, they'll all won't be there in 5 years. I can tell them that much, the listener. But they're going to need more than Drinkwater and Cullen the Tummy. They're going to need an inspiration from somewhere. And they're going to need it pretty fast to be good in 5 years, because those two players alone won't assist. So we will see what happens there. I think the best thing they've got going for them is their junior nursery there, particularly the Illawarra area. That's their big hope, is for some players to come through that pipeline.
I had a look at their list before we came on air, Paul. Rated the list, couldn't find one A grader in the list.
No, well, that's quite sad. And then I'd hate to think what our listeners thinking about Matt Duffy having taken off, and then he's starring at the Rabbitohs. So it seems that they need someone smart there in terms of retention as well. So they've got to have someone sharp looking at those juniors to keep them from going elsewhere.
Crystal ball as well, Paul, on red lines. Dragons, red line. Titans, red line. Eels, red line. I've still got a red line through the Storm, even though they won.
I know. I think you're very brave. I think they can make the 8th, the Storm. I genuinely believe that. I think I did predict that it would happen last week. We called it the giraffe guarantee reference. I've got the Storm going on a run. I've predicted it. I'll stand by it. I think they will win 80% of their games heading into the end of the year. I'm happy to stand by that right now. And they'll be doing it for Bellamy. They are a team that rises for your Cronks, your Cameron Smiths, their momentum team and the big occasion team. I think the Storm will storm, all puns excused, that's the second one for the show, into the top 8.
I've also got a line through the Bulldogs.
I can't argue against that, the way they're playing. It hasn't worked. It's not working, and I can't see it turning around anytime soon.
Also got a line through the Sharks.
No, I wouldn't be that pessimistic about them. So, gee, you're pretty harsh with that. You're tougher than this Treasurer's going to be in this budget, I think. Everything's being cut. You're waving that thing around like an auctioneer. I tell you, I'd be leaving the Sharks out of that. You're very tough.
All right, let's review round 10. The Dolphins had a big win against the Bulldogs. As I said, that's one of the reasons I'm putting the red line through the Bulldogs. Couldn't have predicted the blowout at half time, Paul. It was 14-12, and then the Bulldogs went home.
Well, I've got to say, I got 7 out of 8 last week, and it's one of my favourite ever quotes Blocker Roach on the Footy Show said, Balmain's won 3 of their last 4. You can't do any better than that. I've almost got the perfect round, but I did see the Dolphins win coming. I do still think that they're a chance of sneaking into the 8, much like the Storm. They are a very good team on their day, and unfortunately for your Dogs, they ran into it.
And the Bulldogs allowed 40 tackle breaks, Paul. You can't hold a team up if you can't tackle them.
No, particularly as Serrano was known for his defence. So there's a lot happening at the Dogs, and none of it's too positive. They just can't get the right combination. They beat the Panthers, then they've faded since then. So very disappointing, but not surprising, sadly, Professor.
Disappointing is a good segue. The Titans again disappointing. The Roosters 28, the Titans 12. Roosters outgained Titans by 500 metres, showed on the scoreboard too.
Well, it did, and the Titans, they showed some promise. They've got that Zane Harrison at 7, but nothing much can stop the Roosters. That was a very tough debut as predicted. So Roosters too good, and they'll do well this week as well.
The Cowboys, Paul, at home, lost to the Eels. Now, that was one I didn't see coming.
That's the only one I got wrong last week. And those Eels, I know you've got the red pen through them, but there is some talent there. But yeah, the Cowboys, very disappointing. They're a tough team to trust with your tips at the moment.
Well, it was an edge-of-the-seat game. Addo Carr scored a double. He's obviously in very good form at the moment.
He is. I'm not as pessimistic about the Eels as yourself. I still think there's some wins in them, some good wins, and the Cowboys, as you say, won't disgrace, but they should have won that at home. I think we need to give the Eels some credit, though, for a very good win.
This next one was a joke at half-time. The Knights 32 were leading the Dragons 0. The new coach of the Dragons clearly has no answers to what's going on.
Well, not yet. I think that one game, but he came up against a very hot Knights team, and they are building some serious chemistry. They're firming as a dark horse of the comp, the way they're playing with Ponga at the back, one of the best players in the game. Dylan Brown starting to play up to the money he's being paid. And then you've got one of the finds of the year, Fletcher Sharp, who's just having a great year. He's got the best mullet in the comp, I'll tell you that much, but he's forming some good combinations. Bradman Best, absolutely superb. Walked into a Blues jumper in Origin time. Very good team, the Knights, and I love seeing them go well.
Well, Greg Mars, you followed up last week's hat-trick with 5. How many is he going to score this week?
Well, he's a hard man to stop. I saw one try. He's got about 5 blokes in front of him. So like Miley Cyrus on that wrecking ball. He's just not as attractive. So very tough to stop from a short distance, Greg. So I tell you, they are looking ominous for the next few weeks at least.
I was so confident about your Rabbitohs getting the points against the Sharks that I turned off at half-time. It was 18-0, 36-12. The Sharks didn't do too much in the second half.
No, they didn't, and it was a very impressive performance from the Rabbitohs. And you might have noticed Latrell Mitchell. There's another Latrell on the scene. Who would have thought? Latrell Siegwald, who was the Queensland Cup Player of the Year, and he stepped in very nicely, if you don't mind, into some of the biggest shoes in the game. He was very impressive. Latrell Siegwald.
Well, not only that, Alex Johnson scored a hat-trick on one leg.
Yes, well, that's pretty impressive. He keeps scoring as well. So we've got quite a few just scoring for fun this year at the moment.
Schooner sent me a text about this next result, Paul. The Seagulls 32, the Broncos 4. 900 metres outgained the Broncos. Have never seen so many tackles not stick.
No, it's disappointing for the Broncos. Gee, they're up and down this year. I did think that may happen with Fuzzball and the Broncos having too many injuries. Manly's just kept impressing. They're a very good team, and they were too good for the Broncos.
Broncos only had a 55% completion rate too, Paul. Not going to win many games when you're playing that poorly.
No, and I'd say it would have resulted in 55 F-bombs from their coach as well, because he's a stickler for his standards, Maguire. So that was a very disappointing effort from the Broncos.
The Giraffe Guarantee game, also known as the Big D Guarantee game last week. Storm 44, West Tigers 16. Storm had 4 tries on the board in the first 12 minutes. They came out looking like they meant business.
No, they did. And the Tigers, as I said, missing Arpi Carousel, who I think is their most important player. Second most important player is their half, Adam Dewey. And I think that those two have been even more impressive than Jerome Luai this year. So those two out didn't give them a chance, and they played like it.
Munster and Harry Grant look like they're back in form, Paul.
Well, it's dangerous for State of Origin time for New South Wales. They are looking very good. I'm sure Billy Slater would have enjoyed that game. And I think I almost saw Craig Bellamy smile at the end there. So I know he's going through a bit, but it was a good win for the Storm. And as predicted, they did it well.
And the Panthers went to Canberra and came away with the points, even though it was cold.
A good game, and yeah, the Panthers did well. Raiders on the slide, so I was impressed with the Panthers bouncing back. They're going to be hard to stop from here.
This week starts with a big one on Thursday night, Paul, the Women's State of Origin up at Suncorp. Start of a very magic week, if you like. The New South Wales Blues currently lead the series 1-0. How do you see this one going?
Now, I actually think Queensland might win at decent outsider odds. They've never won a match there in State of Origin, the Queensland women, so I think it might be time that happens. Neutral fans would love a decider in Game 3. New South Wales has won there in 2024 and 25. So I think Queensland might surprise everyone and get a win there. Keep an eye for Sydney Roosters prop and Maori All-Stars representative Rima Butler. She's apparently got a big rap on her, and that's since the restriction of the rules regarding playing for international countries. She could be a superstar at the Origin too.
Maroons need to cut down the errors, Paul. They made 11 in the first game, and also on the penalties, they gave away 7. So if they can tighten that up, they might be a chance, as you say.
And the home crowd, I think, will get them home, even though New South Wales are pretty hot favourites. So we'll give an outsider tip there for the other listeners.
Well, I like the Blues in this one. I'm going to go against you. I like the halves combination better than Queensland.
Yeah, it'll be good to watch, and hopefully they get quite a few people watching on TV as well. Be a great game. It always is, the Origin, men and women.
Round 11 of the men kicks off on Friday night with the Sharks against my Bulldogs. Craig Fitzgibbon would have worked the Sharks pretty hard after the game put in against the Rabbitohs.
Rabbits. Yeah. Well, it was a pretty ordinary performance from an up-and-down team in the Sharks. It's quite surprising, given Fitzgibbon in his playing days was known for his consistency, how erratic the Sharks are. But with the Dogs and their issues, I think the Sharks are specials for this game. Sorry, Professor.
Your Rabbitohs against the Dolphins, Paul. Alex Johnson out, but Latrell Mitchell back. A real test for the Dolphins. Wayne Bennett will be looking to cement the Rabbitohs in the top 2.
Yes, surprising that the Rabbits are outsiders. I'm not sure why that is. Not by much, but with Latrell back, one in for the Dolphins, who I did say pre-season Trey Fuller's probably the best X factor in the game, the best player who's in reserve grade, definitely. So he's been targeted by the Dragons. He could be exceptional for them. Interesting because they've signed Scott Drinkwater's fullback on big money, but he is such an exciting player, and the rest of the Dolphins, they're a big chance, but I like the Rabbits to keep the run.
Sea Eagles are 4 out of 5 in the Kieran Foran era. When are they going to remove the interim in front of the coach's name?
You have to think they'd sign him soon, and I think that the Tigers are on the slide. They've lost a couple in a row. They're still missing Arpi Carousel. I think the Manly wins this. Fogarty's back as well in the halves, so I think Manly will just be too strong and consistent for the Tigers who are fading.
Well, and the West Tigers have got a problem. They leak points as well. Their defence isn't as good. So, I'm all for the Sea Eagles in this one as well.
Yeah, specials, but I'm not guaranteeing it yet. That's coming out soon.
Roosters against the Cowboys. This will test the Cowboys out. The Roosters in terrific form at the moment. I believe they're building towards a very big end of the season.
Oh, they are. I think they'll go very close to the grand final on current form. Tom Dearden's out, so Cowboys, no chance in this one. Sorry, Roosters are specials, but I will jump into the next game. Eels and Storm. I'll stick with the Storm for the giraffe guarantee. I did call it earlier. I think they're going to go on a big run, and I think they'll be way too strong for the Eels.
Yeah, in the nightcap game on Saturday night, Paul, Jonah Peasant's back for the Eels, but I don't think that's going to help.
No, not the way the Storm are playing. They're building, and the brave tips to go against the Storm in this form.
The disappointing Titans playing the surprise packet Knights. Yeah, how many will Greg Marzu score?
I think he'll get a few in this game because he's got one of the better spines in the comp feeding here. Pong at the back, Fletcher Sharp playing well, Dylan Brown, and Phoenix Crossland's very dependable at hooker. So I think the Knights are building for definitely a top 8 and maybe even higher this year. So I feel for the Titans, they won't win this one.
Mitchell Barnett back for the Warriors. Adam Reynolds back for the Broncos. I think the Warriors will be far too strong for the Broncos, even though the Broncos playing at home.
Yeah, I'm actually tipping the Broncos at home. Might surprise you. There's a bit there you go. A bit of unrest at the Warriors with Luke Metcalf wanting to play 7, and they've told him no. So he said, I'll look around. As we've seen with Jerome Luai, that can be a bit unsettling on a team. But I think more so with Reynolds there and the Broncos at home, I think they'll just do enough to tame the Warriors.
I don't know who'd put the fixture together, Paul, but finishing Magic Round with the Panthers versus the Dragons isn't going out with a bang. It's going out with a pop.
Oh, it is. It's going out with a whimper. So it's not a great schedule. I don't know who came up with that, as you say, but not the best finale. If it was a TV series, it'd be a dub, the final episodes. Jumping the Shark, I think they call that, or Jumping the Dragon in this instance. Panthers will win quite easily. Dragons are in all sorts of trouble.
Well, if ever there was a reason for a mercy rule, this game's probably it.
Oh, it is. And you got to feel for Dean Young up against the Panthers. What an induction. But let's see what happens with him. I think the Panthers will do it quite well to finish off what'll be a great Magic Round.
Yes, Paul, great Magic Round, and this has been a magic show. See you again next week.
Good stuff. Take care.
Responsible gambling is paramount. For support, contact the Gambling Help online at 1800 858 858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.